Alright, let's dive into this because the Canucks are shaping up to be one of the most fascinating teams to watch this offseason, and I'm not just saying that because the trade rumors are flying. Personally, I think what makes this really interesting is how the Canucks are sitting at this crossroads, trying to balance their rebuild with some pretty big names on the roster. It's like they're playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. So, let's break down these three potential trades and what they could mean for the team and the league. First up, Jake DeBrusk to the Oilers. On the surface, this feels like a no-brainer, right? DeBrusk got ties to Edmonton, and the Oilers could use another piece in their top six. But here's where it gets tricky. The Oilers haven't exactly been splashing cash this offseason, and DeBrusk's no-move clause gives him some control here. What many people don't realize is that DeBrusk's value isn't just in his goal scoring, it's in his powerplay prowess and his cap-friendly contract. If I'm the Canucks, I'm not settling for a second and third round pick here. In my opinion, they should be aiming for a first round pick or a legit prospect. Otherwise, what's the point? If you take a step back and think about it, this trade could be a win-win, but only if both sides play their cards right. Now, let's talk about Elias Pettersson. This is the one that's got everyone buzzing, and for good reason. Pettersson's a game-changer, but his $11.6 million AAV and no-move clause make him a tough piece to move. The Canadiens and Red Wings keep popping up as potential destinations, but here's the thing, the Canadiens would have to gut their prospect pool to make it work, and the Red Wings? They're not even in the picture until they figure out what to do with Dylan Larkin. One thing that immediately stands out is how much salary retention could play into this. If the Canucks end up eating part of Pettersson's contract, it changes the entire calculus. Personally, I think they should hold off on trading him until the deadline, unless they get an offer they can't refuse. What this really suggests is that the Canucks are in no rush to sell low on one of their best players. Then there's Shane Wright. This one's a bit of a wild card, but it's also the one I'm most intrigued by. Wright's still just 22, and he's got the kind of upside that could make him a steal. What makes this really interesting is that he's reportedly open to joining the Canucks, which is a big deal when you're talking about a reclamation project. The Kraken's initial ask of Willander or Byam was absurd, like, come on, that's not happening. But DeBrusk and a second or third round pick. That feels fair. If you take a step back and think about it, Wright could be the kind of player who thrives in a new environment. This raises a deeper question, though, are the Canucks willing to take a chance on a player who hasn't quite lived up to his draft hype yet? Here's the bigger picture, the Canucks are in a unique position right now. They've got assets to move, but they're also not desperate to sell. What many people don't realize is that this offseason could set the tone for their entire rebuild. If they play their cards right, they could come out of this with a mix of young talent, draft picks, and cap flexibility. But if they rush into a bad deal, it could set them back years. In my opinion, the key here is patience. The trade deadline is still months away, and a lot can change between now and then. One thing's for sure, though, the Canucks are going to be a team to watch, not just this offseason, but for the next few years. What this really suggests is that we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg with this team. So, let me ask you, which of these trades do you think is most likely to happen? And more importantly, which one do you think the Canucks should prioritize? Let me know in the comments below.